This is my Chunkman account. With a mere chunk in his possession and a dream in his heart, he began his quest to conquer the vast expanse of old-school RuneScape's landmass. He started his journey from humble beginnings in Lumbridge, but with an arsenal of custom tasks, he has faced and overcome countless challenges. His journey has taken him through the trials of total level grinding, epic quests, mysterious clues, and perilous encounters with fearsome bosses, all in order to unlock new chunks of land. Now halfway through the journey, the road ahead may be paved with even greater challenges, but with each obstacle overcome, he moves closer to his goal. So welcome to the second half of Chunkman DDK. Last episode we added 5 more chunks to our total by achieving 950 total level, completing Throne of Miscellanea, Royal Trouble and the Corsair Curse quests, and finally we killed the Kraken boss for the 250th time. Our map expanded with the eastern smidgen of Etcetera, the crumbling tower on the Isle of Souls, the last 2 pieces of Menaphos, and the last but definitely not the least, we managed to unlock the chunk below the Fishing Guild, which will be the main chunk we will be using this episode. As we have now finally unlocked one of the most important chunks, it is finally time to do everything to do in that chunk, and that is pretty much the entire questline for the elves. We can do all of them, so this is going to be a very long episode, so I'm going to try to stay at some cliff notes for the quests, because otherwise this would be a 2-hour video and I'd like to get this done all in one go. The first quest we are going to do is Sheep Shearer, so I think we need to talk to the counselor here to start the quest. There is a plague in West Ardoin. There were some sheep that escaped and they think they have the plague, so we need to get rid of them. To actually be able to exterminate all of the sheep, we need to unlock the chunk just below the Fishing Guild and above East Ardoin. So let's unlock it. This has been one of the chunks I've been waiting for so long, and it's finally unlocked. And now let's just go and kill some sheep. 1 blue sheep down. 1 yellow sheep in. And that's the green sheep. And last one, the red sheep. That's all for sheep herded. Now let's poison them and throw their bones into the incinerator. And that's quest completed. We get 4 quest points, which is quite a lot, so that puts us closer to the 250 quest points we need for another Slayer block slot. And we also get 3100 coins, and that's our first quest completed. Normally a quest is a chunk unlocked. I'm actually just going to do all of the quests, and then at the very end we can unlock like a massive amount of chunks. The next quest is Plague City, and we have talked to Edmund. His daughter Elena went over to West Ardoin, where the plague is being contained. Nobody can go in or out except for the mourners. She slipped in as she is a healer, but she hasn't come back, and that worries her father. He already has a plan to get us there, but we first of all need to have some kind of protection so we don't get the plague. We got a mask from her mother, and we dug a grave in the backyard that leads to the Ardoin sewers, and we pulled off the grill here so we can get into the Plague City. Jetic gave us the whereabouts of Elena and also gave us a bit of a backstory on the plague itself. Apparently the king of West Ardoin, the brother of the king of East Ardoin, he went on an expedition west. After he came back from one of the expeditions, one of his men probably took something with them, and the plague started that way, and the king just left again on an expedition. So it seems like the king doesn't really care about his people. Elena was kidnapped and put into jail by the mourners, but we have found where they put her and we are now freeing her. And telling Edmund that his daughter is safely back in East Ardoin. We have completed the Plague City quest. We get 1 quest point, 2425 mining experience, and most importantly, an Ardoin teleport scroll. I have been waiting for this reward for so long, as currently if we want to go to Ardoin, we pretty much teleport to the house, to Remington, and then take the boat to Ardoin. This costs 30 GP every time, which I sometimes forget, which is quite annoying. But now, if we are going to read this scroll, we have now unlocked the Ardoin teleport, which is so nice. But that is Plague City completed. That's now 2 quests completed. Let's go for a third now. Next in line is the quest Biohazard. Now that we have freed Elena and she is back in her house, we can help her try to find a cure for the plague. The problem is that all of the samples she took are still in West Ardoin, and the tunnel we used has now been filled up by the mourners, so we need to find another way in. There are some people that are willing to pull us over the wall, but we need to make sure that the mourners here in the watchtower do not see us. So we've spread some bird seeds all over the watchtower, and now if we open this pigeon cage, the mourners are pretty much occupied with dealing with the pigeons instead of with us, so we can get over the wall with Omart here. As we aren't allowed to get into the mourners' headquarters to retrieve the samples, we poisoned their food, dressed up as a nurse or a doctor, and now we are at the storehouse. But we need a key, so let's kill the mourner protecting it. Elena tested the sample we brought back and noticed something strange. So she sent us to Gidor, her mentor here in Varrock. We had to do a bit of a workaround to get things in here because she has already brought in samples here, and the people of Varrock didn't really like this, as you don't want to have the people here become infected, of course. But Gidor comes to a strange conclusion as well, and it seems like the plague is not a plague. There's just nothing going on. With our findings, we are talking to King Latus of East Ardoin, and he actually already knows that the plague is fake. The reason King Latus has built the wall together with spreading the rumors of the plague is because his brother King Tyrus has been corrupted by the Dark Lord and is now working together with him, gathering some kind of army to attack East Ardoin. And with that knowledge, we have completed Biohazard. We get 3 quest points, 1250 thieving experience. We now have full access to the West Ardoin city, so we don't have to go through a tunnel or distracting the guards. We can just go in through the main gate. And we also have access to the combat training camp north of the city. That's now 3 quests completed, and to get to Tyrus, we need to go through the underground pass, and that is the next quest in line. There is a bit of a problem though. Some cultists, together with their leader named Iben, have made their home in the underground pass, so we will have to fix that issue first before we can actually go more west. Now, the most iconic part of the quest, we need to go through the underground pass. One of the lucky things we have is that we have 80 agility, so I imagine we won't get into too many issues with the traps here. I imagine this quest will go fairly smooth, but I hope I won't eat my words here. First test, we need to get to the other side, and there's a 5x5 grid, so let's hope we get to the... Oh wow, we actually managed to get the first one right immediately. Okay, forward I suppose, yes. Let's keep going forward. And we get damaged. Okay, that's not that bad. We're already at the second row, so it's either left or right. I'm gonna go left. And that was not correct. Okay, so we are going to go right, then the only way is up. Because this was a trap. We know we need to go up, and then either we're going to go left or up. I'm going to hope that it's up. And it isn't. Okay, so it's to the left. but is it up then? It is. Nice. Okay, we did not lose all too many health here. We do have quite some strawberries here to help us with all of the damage, so I think we should be alright. Another perk of being higher level than people used to be when doing this content, we can just skip this entire thing, which is just so nice. We then come to a big door and it's locked. If we search the well next to it, there's a rhyme here, and we pretty much need to get 3 crests of the blessed and a creature remains. For the corpse of the creature, we can find the unicorn here, so I'm very sorry, but we need your corpse. A bit further on, and just before the door, we can find 3 knights. If we talk to them, we can actually get some food. But for the 3 crests, we actually need to kill them. With the 3 crests and the unicorn horn, we can all put that into the well, and that will open the door. At the main room of the underground pass, we need to find a way to get rid of Ivan, as he is pretty much holding us back from being able to cross to the west of here. It's not that easy though, as apparently Cardia the witch here has taken a black knight called Ivan, who died in a big war with the white knights. She took his body and did some dark magic with him, described in the history of Ivan's book here. We are going to go and do some things to reverse what she did to make him pretty much invincible. And first of all, we need to kill the demons here, as they have become the shadow of Ivan. With the 3 amulets from the demons, we opened the chest here, we found a liquid and we poured it over the doll of Ivan, which has a piece of flesh. At the bottom we can find the tomb with the body of Ivan. If we just set it on fire, we can find the ashes of Ivan's corpse, which we can also then put onto the doll of Ivan. The big spider Kalarag was used as the blood of Ivan, as he was dead for quite a while, so he didn't have any more blood. So if we kill Kalarag and put the remains here on the doll of Ivan, that's then the blood sorted as well. For the conscience of Ivan, she used a dove, and the dove was then given to the soulless creature over here. So we used the remains of that dove on the doll of Ivan as well. So we have blood, bones, burnt ash, and a dark liquid over the doll. That should be everything we need. Now we just need to confront Ivan. And somewhere in the middle we can find the door. We cannot get in except if we are wearing Zamorak items. So we are posing as a Zamorakian disciple. And this is also the last jump we need to do in this quest here. And we have fallen exactly 0 times. So I'm really happy with the agility level here. I have never done this without falling, and it just feels so good. It's so much time and annoyance that you don't have. But let's get into the door. Let's confront Ivan. Well, he's immortal, but if we use it all on the well, we can just kill him that way. And with that, Ivan has been defeated, and we are at the end of our journey. And with telling the king that there is now a way to the west to go and confront King Tyrus, we have completed the underground pass in just about 45 minutes. So actually not that bad, just because we have such a big agility level. We get 5 quest points, which is massive in our goal to get to 250. We also get 3000 agility and attack experience. And we get an Ivan staff because we killed Ivan. And we can now use the Ivan's blast. I think Ivan's staff is still better than the warped scepter we currently have. It's not better than what we could get from Kraken, but it's a nice little upgrade, I suppose. It is time to do the next quest, Regicide. The king wants us to kill his brother, but to get to his brother, we first of all need to go to the Elven lands behind the Well of Voyage. There we are supposed to meet with some elves, as they are going to help us kill his brother. But there's some kind of rebellion between the elves, so that might prove a bit difficult. First of all though, we need to go back through the underground pass, so let's just skip the entire part as we've just done that. Less than 10 minutes later and we're already back at Iban's throne, I guess, but now it's just the Well of Voyage, so let's get in and let's see where those elves are. And there's Idris. I suppose this is the elf we were looking for, or not? There are two very heavily armored elves, Esselt and Morvren. We met up with Lord Ironward at the camp and he told us that we need to find the Tyrus camp. They recently moved, so we'll have to find them with some scout. And we found the new camp, but it is guarded by a guard, so we'll just have to dispatch of him. Oh wow. First trap that actually hits us. These tripwires, I believe, even if you get 99 agility, these are still the point where you fail, but we have enough healing anyway, so that's not that bad. Okay, apparently it's not the only thing we can fail here. As the Tyrus camp is pretty heavily guarded, we'll have to find some way to kill him, and we've gotten a book from Lord Ironward to pretty much make a bomb. The bomb consists of a couple of things, and we've already gotten a barrel of coal tar together with the sulfur from the poisoned lake we have here. We will need to refine some things, but if we combine everything we will have a bomb. Then we just need to have some kind of delivery system to kill King Tyrus. And there we go, that's a barrel bomb. Now the only thing we need to do is to go back through the underground pass. Well, it's not that bad, it's only like 10 minutes. And then it's time to execute the Regicide. There's a very convenient catapult, like looking at the camp, but there's a guard. Should be easy to distract him. Let's load up the battle bomb. And there it goes, right on top of Tyrus's tent. Just before we get to King Laetus with Ironward's message that King Tyrus is dead, we find ourselves with a conversation with the elf Arayanman. He unlocked the message from Lord Ironward and it isn't good. Apparently we were tricked into killing King Tyrus, and both King Laetus and Lord Ironward are working to resurrect the Dark Lord. And with that plot twist, we still gave the word of King Laetus' brother's death, and we have completed Regicide. We get 3 quest points, full access to Terranwin, 13,750 agility experience, which is, yeah, kind of a low amount with this kind of level, and 15,000 coins. In order to redeem ourselves for what we've done, we need to do the next quest, which is Roving Elves. To get to the quest start, we need to get back to Terranwin, which isn't ideal, but luckily we don't have to go through the underground pass anymore. We have unlocked the shortcut here in Randar, which we have unlocked because Lord Ironward was actually happy that we actually did this, and we can get there that way. I was actually going to say, yeah, we don't actually need to go through Randar because we have ports and we can just use the charter ship, but apparently, like you saw, we don't have the junk unlocked. So that's quite annoying. There goes my plan. So I guess we'll have to go through the outpost, teleports, and then through Randar. Yeah, this is gonna be a long walk. In the middle of Terranwin, we can find Isilwin together with Eluned. They don't really trust us, but Isilwin is the grandson of Glariol, and because we buried her next to Bextorian, her husband, He said we weren't all that bad, but we need to do one thing before they actually trust us, and that is to make sure that Glariel gets a burial like she should have from all of the elves. We already went back to her grave and got the consecration seed from the moss giant there. Elenet has just enchanted it. The only thing we need to do now is to make sure that it is planted where she is now actually buried. There we go. That's the seed planted. And okay, just giving the news back to Isilwin and we complete the quest. I did not think this was this short of a quest. Like, the walking around was more than all of the text and such, so okay. We get 1 quest point for completing Roving Elves and 10,000 strength experience, together with access to the crystal equipment, and I took a bow because it should be better than a magic short bow. I'm a little bit surprised, but I guess they trust us and now they are going to take us to Arianwin, but a very short quest in comparison to all of the others we've done. And then, just by asking if we want to meet with Arianwin, we can start Mourning Ends Part 1 as well, the next quest in the quest line. We are in the city of Letia, and Arianwin has filled us in on some of the backstory of what has happened here. After the God Wars, Seren, the goddess of the elves, had to leave this plane, and they crowned a king for the first time, and that was Baxtorian, so the one from Baxtorian Falls. At that time, Baxtorian also went to the Eastern lands, so to where Ardoin is at the moment. They had a very big kingdom, and during that time, Lord Ireward, instead of still worshipping Seren, he turned to Zamorak instead. There was a civil war. Well, the civil war is still going on. They wanted to take back the city of Privdinis, but it was meant to withstand the God Wars, and they only managed to put it back into its crystal form. So that's why the city isn't there just yet. But ever since, they have been fighting, and the reason Lord Ireward is teaming up with King Laetus is that he needs something from West Ardoin, as all of the mourners we have seen in West Ardoin are actually elves. So Arianwin actually tasked us with finding out what is happening in West Ardoin, just to know what the plan is of Lord Ireward. First off, we need to kill a mourner, as we need the outfit, of course, to be able to infiltrate. They are using the Arandar Pass to actually get to West Ardoin every time, so let's get there and let's kill the mourner. As we've killed the mourner, well, the pants are ripped and the top is bloody, so we can find some soap here in Taverley to clean off the blood, and the seamstress in Letia can fix the trousers as well. So now we have a full outfit to get into the Mourner HQ. Under the Mourner HQ we can find Esselt. He gives us a bit of backstory of what they are actually doing here, and it has something to do with the caves underneath this building. He won't go into too many details until we've proven ourselves, and one of the things we can do to prove ourselves is to re-dye the sheep like we did in the first quest. Instead of killing the sheep because they had an abnormal color, well, we need to recolor them because the color sometimes washes away, so that's why we have the dyes. But the device to recolor them is broken, so we need to go into the next room and talk to the gnome that is being tortured. The gnome fixed the device after some torture, so we can now use it together with some toads we have dyed, and we can re-dye these sheep here. There we go. That's all of the sheep recolored. Our second assignment is to make some of the people sick in West Ardoin, because they are lacking some manpower, and if people are sick they can just say that they died from the plague. So with the help of Elena, if we take some apples that are rotten, mix them with the naphtha, we can actually make a kind of toxin that isn't lethal. After those two tasks, we seem to have gotten the faith of Esselt, so he told us what they are actually doing here. And apparently, They are digging down here because they believe there is a temple of Seren and it houses something very important that they will be able to use. And telling everything to Arianwen about the temple, which he believes is the Temple of Light, that can then be used to corrupt it and bring back the Dark Lord. And that is the end of Mournings End Part 1. We get 2 quest points, 40,000 thieving experience, which is quite a lot, which is really nice. And we also get 25,000 hit points experience, but yeah, we're maxed, so that doesn't really matter. A bit of a detour before we do Morning Ends Part 2, and we are here at Guardians of the Rift. I already have 53 reward points. We have gotten 3 levels already for rune crafting, and it's a 1 in 200 for the item we want, but we can still get some other items which are useful, so let's see if we get lucky or not. Oh, we actually get all of the pouches. That's also pretty nice. But we don't get what we actually want. Can we actually use this giant pouch? I don't think so, right? No, still need 10 levels. But the large pouch is definitely going to help. Another 3 levels later, we're now 68 rune crafting. We have 60 pulls, 161 already pulled. So this will bring us over the drop rate of what we are looking for. Hey, that's the lantern. That's going to help us in the games. But not the catalytic talisman we are looking for. Alright, we've now done 10 levels of rune crafting. We're now 72 and we still haven't gotten it. These are the rewards from the last level. If we don't get it here, I'm just going to go and kill dark beasts during the quest, as we just aren't getting the catalytic talisman here. But let's have a look. Maybe we are still a bit lucky. Nope, not lucky. We're now at 351 searches, so that's almost 2 times the rate just to get the catalytic talisman here. But yeah, we'll just get the dead talisman from the Slayer monster. Might keep my sanity a bit better than having to do rune crafting all day. But kind of happy we also did like the couple of levels. It did boost the total level a bit again. The next task we got from Assault was to actually investigate a team that was going missing, and we got a key to get through this door so we can get into the caves, and a bit further on we should find the dark beasts. Yes, here we go. So I guess we'll gear first to kill these to get the dead talisman, and then finish the quest after that. Hey, that didn't take long. Well, definitely not as long as it took at Guardians of the Rift, but that's 33k C for the dead talisman. It seems like we found the team, but they're all dead, and we have a lot of shadows here, and the entrance to the Temple of Light. Inside of the temple we found a couple of white crystals, but this one here is black, so that doesn't seem right. Let's maybe take a part of it and take it back to Letia. Arianwen has made some discoveries as well on his end. It seems like the Temple of Light had some safeguards, but as the shadows are in there, they don't seem to be working. And the blackened crystal is what is actually powering all of the defenses. So we got a newly made crystal, but we need to charge it with the powers of the Death Altar, so everything can work again, all of the safeguards. So now let's get into the Temple of Light and do the longest puzzle we've had to do so far. There's not really any story to it, so I'm just going to skip this. Just one thing I want to gloat about our AT agility. These handholds are one of the worst parts of this quest. And if I am correct, we can just do them without ever falling. So okay, first time we did not fall. We still have to get here one more time, but this is already looking really good. Second attempt on the handholds. Ah, you love to see it. We made it as well. 20 minutes of the puzzle later and we have reached the end. And there's the death altar, where we can find Torgal, who pretty much made a hole through the temple on the other side, which would have been easier for us to get here. He normally gives us a talisman if we want to have it for 50 items, which really is annoying, but I think the time we spent to actually get this is probably more than all of the items we needed to get from him. But now we can actually go to the death altar and use the new crystal on it, and it's now glowing, so the power of the altar has been made into the crystal. So let's go and use it to reactivate all of the protections here. New crystal on the black one, and there we go, it's now white again. The temple is now safe again from all of the rogue elves. Hey, and there's the end of the quest as well. We have completed Mournings and part 2. We get 2 quest points, access to the death altar, which will be very useful when we do some more Guardians of the Rift, and 60,000 agility experience, which is quite a lot, but yeah, not enough for us to get a level. The story is not done though. We still need to stop all of the troops from Lord Ironworth, and that means that we have only one quest left, which is Song of the Elves. And if we look at the requirement, we have actually gotten everything we need for this one. So this will be the last quest we will do today. Starting Song of the Elves starts at Edmund, the father of Elena, and apparently Elena has been arrested by the Knights of Ardoin, as she is spreading the word that the plague isn't real. We disguise ourselves as Ardoin Knights, and we found Elena, and she asked for a clear liquid to melt this grate here so she can escape into the sewers down here. We have found Elena in the hideout in West Ardoin, and together with Councillor Hargreave, which we've met at the very first quest, we hatched a plan to overthrow the government, so overthrow the king. But for that we need the power of the people, as the king has a firm grasp on all of the paladins and the knights. So if we disguise ourselves as a mourner in West Ardoin or as an Ardoin knight in East Ardoin, if we do some things, we can incite a riot. And there we go, that's 80 members into the Ardoin resistance, so we have our army. People really aren't happy if you burn their food and make them pay more taxes, so that was quite easy. And there we have a fight in West Ardoin. We need to clear out all of the mourners, just to make sure that the king is weak enough and he doesn't have any help from them. And there's all the mourners in the basement of the HQ as well. And now it's time to do the same thing, but in the castle. We only have to deal with the paladins as the mourners are now dead, so this shouldn't take long. With all of his protectors killed, we have found the king in a wardrobe. Time to make him pay for what he did. And there comes the executioner to kill the previous king. And we seem to be getting abducted in the meantime by the lovely Lord Ironworth, the next person in line we need to deal with. Oh, and we are getting saved by the rebels. Apparently Lord Ironworth was only telling the king that he was going to summon Zamrak because he knew that the king was a follower of Zamrak, but in fact he wanted access to the Temple of Light because a part of Seren is trapped in there, and he wants to free that part. This is all a bit strange, as Seren seems to have died quite a while ago after being let go by Lord Ironworth without any bloodshed. We had a meeting with all of the other rebels, and we were discussing what happened, and one of the things that was mentioned by the Lord Ironworth was that he got the knowledge that a fragment of Seren was still in the Temple of Light because he broke one of the seals of the Grand Library. The Grand Library is a big place inside of the city of Privdinus. There were 9 seals on specific parts of the library that were only accessible to Seren, and he broke the first one and managed to get the knowledge that there was a fragment left. The problem now is that the city of Privdinus has been put into a crystal once again, and neither party has any other access to the Grand Library, so the other 8 seals, we cannot break them to find out more. So the only way we know of how to actually get some more knowledge is to get some knowledge from the old King Baxtorian, which we know is at the Baxtorian Falls. Apparently Baxtorian only put himself in a stone sleep, so we were able to actually revive him. Sadly, Baxtorian does not know what is hiding behind those seals, but he does know they can be destroyed. So it is definitely possible that Lord Ironward actually destroyed the seal and got some knowledge. We first of all need to make sure that he is telling the truth. So we've devised a plan that we can actually get inside the crystal box that is actually housing Privdinus. For that we need a potion and some other things to do it safely. For that potion, we are going to ask Elena to make it, but for that we need a Cadentine seed, and well, it took me a day to get this one. We did not have any more in the bank because I was just doing farm runs, and Cadentines are easy potions to make. And I did a Slayer task for Aberrant Spectres, did not get it while we were on drop rate. I pickpocketed Master Farmers, which are terrible to actually get herb seeds. We also went about the drop rate, got every other seed except for this one, and then I checked the wiki, and apparently one of the easiest ways to get this seed was to go to the Titans, and we did about 25 KC there to get 2 seeds, so that's actually not that bad in the end, but it did take a day before I could start the quest. When the city of Privdinus was reverted into a crystal, the crystal seed is actually in the middle of this empty void now. The problem is that the walls are still there, and Lord Ironward has made some kind of spell that only him or his allies can actually get through them. The thing though is, Lord Ironward is not a good mystic, so the work he did was probably very crude, and one of the other clans which are specialized in mysticism should have no problem with dealing with this barrier. So we pretty much need to find all of the elders of the clans, as we pretty much want to be as strong as possible as well before we go against Lord Ironward. They all went into hiding after Privdinus was reverted into a crystal though, so this might take a while to find them. While we found 2 of the elders, the Elder Cadentine is now ready. We also have a crystal as a secondary, so let's put him in a vial, and that will be the inversion potion, which will give us access to the seed. And then it is time to actually get into the Grand Library. We're now at 3 hours on the timer here. Let's see how long it takes to do all of these light puzzles. We have found the Seal of the Forgotten, the one that Lord Ironward has broken. The knowledge we got from a remembrance of Seren was that actually there is a part that was locked up into the Temple of Light. It wasn't really clear if Seren's decision was a good one or not to lock it up, but it does seem like Lord Ironward was telling the truth, that there is a part of Seren still alive out there. To find more knowledge though, we need to break the other seals as well to get the full picture. The next memory of Seren talks about how she met the Elven people in the world they resided in before this one, and how one of the elves had made a book documenting everything about Seren, but that's it. The elves seem to have a very long lifespan, but not long enough, as Seren has actually seen them all die within her lifespan, as she is pretty much immortal. As she was very sad about the fact that they all died, she wanted to devise something that gave them eternal life as she has. To extend the lifespans of the elves, she found a way to just put a piece of herself into every elf so that their lifespans would number in the thousands instead. It seems like because she meddled with their lifespans, she pretty much bound them to her. So as soon as they left her, they had some pain. And if they did not return, they would eventually die as well. She did try to fix her mistake, but she only made it worse. Oh no, we can actually fail things here. The next memory of Seren talks about that another being with great power came to their plane and told them that there is another world with a lot of power. But as every elf was connected to Seren, she had to take them all with her, as it seems like it was the only way for her to fix her mistake. It seems that world is actually the world we are on now, and she really did think this world had the key to solve all of her problems. She found the Death Altar after a very long time, and as her magic is of life and the Death Altar is of death, that should nullify each other, but it did not work out as she expected it to be. And at the last gate, which took us about an hour to complete it entirely, we find the rest of the story. Seren used the little part of darkness she had in herself, combined that with the Death Altar energy, and it split off into a fragment of herself, but of pure darkness instead of light. And she thought that would counteract the curse, but she was mistaken. Instead, the curse was still bound to her, and the fragment of Seren actually attacked her. And instead of destroying the darkness she had created, she put it into the Temple of Light, the place she actually created it in. So the piece of Seren that is actually alive is the dark piece of Seren, so that's not a good thing. After sharing what we have learned at the Grand Library, the elves are a bit shook, as to be expected, as pretty much everything they knew isn't real anymore. There are still quite a few things to do, as we still want to stop Lord Ironward from releasing the dark fragment of Seren. And two things are there, and one thing is there is an orb that can bypass all of the Temple of Light securities, and that can then be used to also unlock the fragment of Seren that's there. So we need to find that so Lord Ironward doesn't actually get that. And the other thing is that we need more of the leaders of the clans here, as Backstorian has found some more of them, or more clues to find them. The orb is already taken by Lord Ironward, but he doesn't know the other exit made by the dwarves for the Temple of Light, so we just came here inside a cave at his camp to just steal it. We were a bit suspicious about Isgwyn, one of the rebel elves, but it just seems like he was meeting with one of Lord Ironward's men, who is giving him information about Lord Ironward. So this guy here, Easton, is apparently an informant. The news Easton has brought Isgwyn is that there is an informant from the rebels that is giving information to Lord Ironward, and he gave the information of where the city of Letya is, together with the whereabouts of the dwarven camp that has access to the Death Altar and then also to the Temple of Light. So that's a very bad thing. We will have to move pretty quickly to defend the city of Letya. The fighting has already begun, and it seems that Arianwin is actually the traitor. After learning that a fragment of Seren is still alive, he teamed up with Lord Ironward. We got strong-armed into handing over the orb, so they now have everything to go into the Temple of Light and free the dark fragment of Seren. But now it seems like we can deal with the traitor Arianwin. Arianwin got away. The village is a bit in a state here, but there's no going back now. we need to go and defend the dwarves at the underground pass so Lord Ireward cannot get into the Temple of Light. For that, we need to find the last 2 elders and then some other compatriots, like maybe the people from Easterdoin and General Heining, the general of the previous King Tyrus. So we have an army to actually be able to stop Lord Ireward from getting to the fragment of Seren. Oh no, no, no. I thought this quest did everything in the Terranman area and we did not need like the Zora part. Which is really annoying because I really wanted to finish this quest. We do have 6 chunk rolls because of all of the things we finished, so I think we're just going to hope we unlock this chunk here. Well, we actually need these 2 chunks. I think this one is unlocked actually. Oh no. Oh boy, we don't have this unlocked. It's the one here that we just unlocked. So we can roll all 3 of them. We have 6 chunks we can unlock. We need to pretty much unlock all 3 of them because even if we use the fairy ring here, the stepping stone is in the chunk above it. Yeah, the chances of this is really slim, but I guess we'll have to try. Otherwise, yeah, we're only going to have 6 chunks unlocked. And we won't have the full completion of the Elven storyline. Before we roll the chunks, we need to complete the quests, of course. So let's go in order. First of all, we completed Sheep Shearer, Sheep Herder for our 126th quest and our 406th chunk. Then the next one was Plague City for our 127th quest. Then we did Biohazard for our 128th quest. Underground Pass for our 129th quest. Regicide for 130 quests completed. Mournings End Part 1 also completed for our 131st quest. And then Mournings End Part 2 for another quest. 132 quests now and 412 chunks. And if my math is correct, that's actually 7 chunks we have unlocked, not 6. So it's a little bit better, but yeah, let's go to the map and see if we get lucky on the 3 chunks we need. Alright, let's have a look. Most of the rollable chunks are water, so that's a good thing. But we still have enough of landmass chunks that, yeah, getting these 3 out of the 7 chunks we want to get might be a little bit much to ask for, but it's worth the shot. So let's see what our first chunk is going to be. Let's pick a chunk. Okay, starting with some water, which is expected. Let's try this again. Let's pick a chunk. Ooh, that's a bad one to roll actually. We can now roll an additional landmass chunk with Ungale. But still water chunk. We still have 7 more possibilities. Let's pick a chunk. Nope, also water chunk. 1 more. Let's pick a chunk. Oh my god, this is going to take a while. And this has no landmass, which is great, but it unlocked, yeah. Might have to fast forward a bit if we keep rolling water chunks, but let's try again. Let's pick a chunk. Oh, it's actually a bad one, that one. Another part of the Isle of Souls unlocks 2 more pieces of landmass we can unlock. That's 1 out of 7 landmass chunks unlocked. Yeah, our chances of getting these 3 specifically is very slim, I suppose, but there's still a chance, so let's see. Next one is going to be... Let's pick a chunk. Water chunk. yeah, another part of the Isle of Souls for our second of the 7 chunks. We do have the Soul Wars lobby now, which is actually pretty good. If we do the Soul Wars games, we can actually get some good ammunition, good supplies for the wilderness. So, not a bad unlock, but not really what we are looking for at the moment. Okay, 2 out of 7, 5 to go. Let's pick another chunk. Oh, yes! Okay, that's 1 out of 3. That's good. We have the chunk we actually need to do the quest. Also unlocks Zora, which is kind of interesting. Still 2 to go. We have 4 more shots. So it's still within the realm of possibilities. Let's pick a chunk. Oh, another part of the Isle of Souls. Yeah, now it's only 3 left. We need 2 of the 3. Yeah, I don't think it's going to happen, but might as well try. Let's see what the next one is going to be. Let's pick a chunk. Oh, that's a good one actually. One of the more solitary chunks we had, but that's good or not unlocked. A really useful chunk, as we need to still do the Watchtower quest, which is a kind of interesting one we still need to go for. So let's see if we can actually get really lucky. Let's pick a chunk. Ooh, it's also Priv Dennis Tranman, but not the one we wanted. So I guess we are not going to be continuing the Song of the Elves quest, which is kind of a bummer. We were almost there, but I guess we will have to continue it another time. So then the only thing that's left is to unlock our last chunk. Let's pick a chunk. Oh, that's the entire other way, but that's the other part of Litgren now unlocked. Only one little part left here on the map, but otherwise that's the entire right side of the map unlocked now, except for that little one there. But that concludes all of the chunks. A bit of a bummer ending, but it is what it is. Song of the Elves and everything in Privdinis will have to wait until we unlock these 2 chunks here. And with the chunks unlocked, we have reached the end of the episode. A bit of an anticlimactic ending, but also not the first time this happened while doing a quest. We still unlocked 7 chunks though, so that's really good progress, and eventually we'll be able to finish Song of the Elves, so I'm not that worried. Next time we'll dive into sailing content, as that will bring a very big change for this account. So I hope to see you in the next episode, and for the rest, have a great one.